in conversation with Jonny Cooper. Good to see you.
No worries.
How are you? Good to see you.
Nice to meet you,
How are
Colin.
you? Nice to meet you, John.
Gavin.
Nice to meet you. How are you?
And Greg.
Hey Greg, how are you? Johnny, nice to meet you. How are you people?
Not too bad now.
Keep us waiting, lads.
Busy morning.
It's actually not too bad. It's busy, just more going from A to B.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It's not too bad as such, but how are you just getting on?
Grand, yeah. Well, I'm a little bit worse for wear. But
No, speak for yourself.
Speak for yourself,
Look,
Colin.
look, his glitter on his face.
Yeah. That's an L too. I expect no different, to be honest.
Maybe for a different reason than you might be expecting.
he didn't even need a prompt to mug me off, like.
No.
God's sake. Yeah, no, I was at Full Monty last night.
Full Monty, what is that? Something in
It's
here,
a DCU dance thing. Basically, they get a load of societies together and lads, strip down to the bare bones for.
like the A&F stuff.
Yeah, bit similar, yeah.
Oh, you're over the A&F stuff.
And
No, they were all well warned in advance of it last night.
Right.
yeah, everybody knew what was happening with that one.
Was there anything said about the A&F stuff behind the scenes?
There was a bit of there was a bit of like, this is coming at the wrong time, I think.
Yeah.
But
your thing, yeah.
yeah, but everybody just got pissed and that was it.
A&F get banned, did they? Or get...
Yeah.
They're suspended
First
from social
semester,
activities
yeah.
for first semester, so
Yeah.
they literally are now the Accounting and Finance Society. They can give accounting grinds and
They
stuff
are
like that.
still wanks, like, to be fair.
They are a little bit out there now.
Yeah.
That so when I studied there, it was called ESOC, and then it changed to ENS, I think, and then changed to A&F. They've had problems every time, more or less that type of stuff.
Just kind of, they seem to be really go down the American avenue.
Fraternity,
of,
For
like,
frat brothers, like yeah.
The parents have come some good guests and good people to get in, but they mix that with the.
Some of their events are really popular, but like they're
Yeah.
literally just known for organising piss ups. That's
Yeah.
why people join them. It's not to do with accounting and finance. It's the same with ESOC.
Yeah. Well, it was rights full last night.
I wouldn't say
Was it good crowd?
full. No, like loads of room to move around. I wouldn't say it was full, but it is like
around, eh?
yeah.
Hey, let's see some Davey and Johnny. So we're trying to yesterday to do 2 interviews, and we were like, right, we're going to bring the guests down to our own level, So we're actually bringing them down to Colum's level. So Colum, as he told you, went to Full Monty last night. On Wednesday night, he went to Sober Sock and Drama Sock. Did karaoke mocktails.
That's by 2 cans.
And Colum had literally 2 cans. Oh, I'll give you a bit of sound.
Sound is necessary, yeah. It's always great when you have that buzz.
Yeah.
Long for that buzz.
That second can.
That second can of Jack's Batteries.
Very fruit.
And that is Greg's laugh in the background, by the way. Yeah, no, I had fun. The crowd loved it.
Can I speak into that, or can I say
No, like clearly it's so good that it picks up.
Was that an app or something?
Yeah, it's this app. It does like the noise cancelling as it goes, so it just literally picks up our voices.
What's it called?
Farit.
Farit?
Yeah,
And
F-E-R-R-I-T.
like I'm using my phone as a backup and I'm just using voice memos, but the quality is actually insane for iPhones.
Very good.
Like we use the Zooms and stuff. We get them from loans.
Yeah,
There's
I
very
mean,
little
yeah,
difference.
we don't look too professional using our phones and stuff like that, but it works.
Whatever works, yeah.
Job.
Stuff out there now, isn't
Do you want to bring it in this time?
Yeah, we'll get started.
Yeah, so
Right, so you're listening to In Conversation
Don't
with.
knock on the table, like.
yeah, exactly.
You're listening to In Conversation with. I'm Gavin. I'm back with Colin and Greg. How you lads?
How are you?
Story.
And today we are interviewing a DCU school liaison officer and also a very
Well,
well
might be
known.
better known for something
Yes,
else.
also
like-
a very
Small
well known.
The small matter of
Dublin GAA
being a
footballer.
Dublin senior
Yeah,
footballer
small
as well.
matter.
Yeah.
It's Jonny Cooper. How you doing?
Thank you, lads. Good to see you.
Yeah, sure. I suppose we tried to reach out to you last year, but you were just that little bit too busy with the matter of
Winning All Ireland.
winning All Ireland, Dublin senior football, all that kind of thing. But we're glad to have you on now. What was the thought when I asked you to be on the show initially, Johnny?
This year or last year?
Yeah, both times.
This year, is that fecker still on me again? Like,
Yeah, no, I kind of did chase you down the first time round, but
No, to be honest, actually, to be straight up about it, I just didn't really like doing the whole, I guess, just the out there stuff, the media type stuff, and I just was straight up. That's the angle that's come from last year. Whereas this year I'm a little bit more comfortable. I feel a little bit more, I guess, in control. And I know it sounds a bit boring, but that's kind of the reason why I just didn't like to.
Is there any reason why you would have been?
I just like to do it from my point of view. Do it, I guess, in a way you get to earn maybe them types. I would see them as an opportunity.
So it's kind of quick how low just check.
If you want to, go on.
Yeah, go on.
You don't mind.
yeah, sure.
Okay.
Go with it. Did you book this out of interest?
We were just told by Clubs and
Yeah,
Socks
it's
that if a room
open.
is free,
Yeah.
it's like squatters' rights basically.
Yeah, but I want staff using. Which is
Yeah.
fair enough. I get it.
Yeah.
What, they don't have staff use it?
Well, sorry, they don't mind staff using, but not booking ahead of what students like could use it for or whatever.
Oh right, yeah. Well, when we had Connor Sketches in there last Tuesday, and we booked, like, they were like, oh yeah, just go on to Clubs and Socks, book a room, and that'll be grand. So I did, and I was like, yeah, they'll probably give us one of the boardrooms in the U or whatever. But they ended up giving us this like corner room in the business building.
Oh yeah.
You know,
It was just a classroom.
Yeah.
But I know it was grand. Like, I mean, we just sat in like little chairs with the desks.
Connor really felt like he was pinned.
Yeah, back in school.
What's he like? Come on, good luck.
Very nice guy. Very nice guy. Loves his guy as well.
Does he? Yeah.
Big
He's
Mullingar.
Westmeath, is he?
Yeah, Mullingar Shamrocks there.
He's a young guy.
He's probably around the same age as yourself. I'd say maybe a little bit younger. I think he might be.
Just say his stuff.
He
Did
went.
he ever rip you off? No.
No, I don't think I've
He went here as well, actually.
Did he go here?
Yeah,
Very
yeah.
briefly, yeah.
He did
Business, wasn't it?
business. Yeah.
That's in he only stayed for a year, like.
Oh no, yeah,
No, he got his
sorry,
degree.
yeah, no,
Yeah,
he
he got his
did finish.
degree.
Sorry, yeah,
Yeah.
no,
Oh, I
he.
didn't know that. Gee, that's good to know. There's a connection there.
Yeah, so actually, probably first, you obviously went to college here in DCU. So do you want to tell us a bit about what you studied and?
Yeah, so I wanted to do sports. Sorry, I did do sports science, but I didn't do great in the leaving certs at the time because I was just playing too much sports, to be quite honest, and I done fairly poor in my leaving cert. So I wanted to do sports science. But ended up repeating the leaving cert, came back to do sports science. They're lucky enough I got a sports scholarship to help me get in academically. So I got an opportunity to get into that. Then went off for 2 years and stayed here, but worked under Niall Moynihan. Professor Niall Moynihan, done a master's there, and then sort of worked in various different departments, GAA, and now I'm in student recruitment, communications and marketing, but kind of haven't left in, I think it's my 10th or 11th year, so between study and work, it's
Kind of the face, one of the faces of DCU as well. Obviously, that kind
You
of,
always just seem to pop up.
yeah,
whenever
it
we're
just
walking
kind of
around campus,
seems. Well, it is kind of in your job, like, because you're obviously a school liaison officer, so you're going around to schools basically promoting DCU. So you are a bit of a face of DCU in reality.
Yeah. Well, look, I like it in that respect, in that if I can help people, that's the angle I come from. If I can help people, or somewhat of a bit of my profile can help somebody connect with potential opportunity or course that's here, that's I guess what my job is. But yeah, no, I do a lot of travelling. I go around schools, mostly go around schools around the country. I have 8 counties that I get to, so when the sport isn't busy, lucky enough to ask when the sport isn't busy, work is very busy, and then kind of vice versa during the summer. So it's kind of a really good job, but the marry up or the fit and the fairness, they're really good to me for time off and flexibility too.
When you went into sports science and health, was there any particular job in mind that you had that you wanted to come out with?
I always wanted to work with people and work with their performance. I didn't know if that performance was in a sporting context, and it probably is to a certain extent, but it was more so, I guess, in like I try to do it myself, try to I guess find all the different pillars that they're needed for whatever they're in, and I guess get them right in terms of giving them an opportunity to perform. So in saying that, I haven't, I guess, used that interest in a more formal capacity yet, but I'm doing another master's now to kind of maybe take me down that route and give me an opportunity for whenever football finishes, or ever not asked or whatever, to come back to go off into that area. So I just have an interest in performance. I no real, I like the physical stuff, I like the nutrition, I like the psychology, I like the smaller little things, little small.
It probably comes quite naturally to you at this stage.
Yeah, well, I guess I'm
probably
lucky enough.
ingrained in your life to a certain degree, I suppose.
Well, it is from the point of view of I need to do it personally to give me a shot to play for Dublin, so I kind of have experience, or lived experience from that point of view. I just happen to have an interest in it as well, but I also get to, I guess, practically trial and error it on myself in a competitive environment. So it probably gives me I guess a high performing real time experience of how something may work, and in turn then maybe could I use that experience to help others that maybe aren't in a position that I've been in, or maybe are looking to get somewhere similar or somewhere in between. So I don't really know where I'm going, to be honest. I'm just enjoying I started another master's there this year, so just.
What's that in?
It's in a thing called organisational behaviour.
Okay.
So last year I did through the GPA actually, so some really good opportunities there. But through the GPA I did a course called executive coaching, and executive coaching is basically when execs at the top level of a firm need to be coached or need to be helped in a certain direction. they turn to executive coaches to help them. But so that's what that was, and that kind of gave me a flavour of what it's like to help people one-to-one, not necessarily a team environment. Whereas this Masters here is kind of looking at an organisation as a whole, and how not only the individual is motivated and how he or she gets on, but also how they interact with the organisation and how they both drive each other or not towards the end goal. So that's sort of.
And how did that intertwine with your sporting game? Have you found at all?
The executive coaching was more so. Well, I'm only 6 weeks into the Masters here, but last year the executive coaching is brilliant for like seeing and knowing other people's point of views. It's brilliant for like listening. It's brilliant for like engaging with people and knowing like even small things like. I know I look away a lot when I'm thinking or when I'm talking through something, and if I'm talking to somebody and I'm looking away, my natural thing will be maybe they're shy, or maybe they don't like to try connect with people, but in actual fact they could just be trying to vividly picture something in their head so in order to describe it. So it's just little subtle things like that, and I don't know exactly what it's been useful for, but I know it's definitely been useful to help me interact with others from a sporting sense, and hopefully a work but sporting sense.
I imagine a typical day given your job is quite busy, and I'd say more so now because of the Masters. What would be like an average day for you? Is it like literally 9 to 5 flat out?
I'd say 9 to 5. I'd say
9, it probably possibly
9 to
longer.
9 easy by the time you get home.
Yeah, it's long. So like something like for example, is in what day is it? Friday, is in Sligo on Wednesday. Went to 3 schools in Sligo. Left Dublin at maybe just after 6:30 to get out of the traffic. Came back then Dublin 6:30 probably that night. No, I didn't have training, but maybe normally I would probably go to a gym or swimming or something. I don't know, maybe some analysis or something. But this time of the year, it's kind of mostly work related, and there's a bit of academics, so that's kind of tied into some study. But I get to listen to podcasts and stuff in the car, so it's not too bad. I can kind of keep up both sides of it.
You'll be able to listen to ours now as well.
In conversation.
I did see the seminar you did, about the 6 or 7 minute long one about achieving balance in life and all that. How long have you been kind of just practicing that and kind of studying into that? And
the actual presentation itself, or just that whole
just
area?
the idea of it. And
so it was really just through trial and error. Like I got 320 points by leaving cert because I just had a complete imbalance in. I just thought sport, and I love sport, still do, but love sport too much, and that I just didn't do the academic stuff. So I kind of came from a failure, or whatever way you want to put it, point of view, and then I kind of hopefully now transitioned into getting a better balance and kind of trying to achieve that. Still not there, but trying to achieve it. So it kind of just came through lived experiences. That particular opportunity was just something that came out of the blue, and I didn't even know it was being recorded, let alone in front of a few hundred people. So a lot of people have said it to me that they found it interesting, I guess. But yeah, I do like that whole space. I like that sharing my story, whatever story that is, sharing that story to maybe help somebody that maybe is in a similar position or maybe will be in a similar position to try.
I thought it was very good, like just the point at the end how it was 46 hours that completely free, like.
Yeah, like, and it's the same, like, so from a sporting context, we like, and you will notice, like, everyone trains Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and that's like from under 16s to inter-county senior, and then everyone probably does the gym on the Monday or the Wednesday, so that's the same. You're doing the same as everyone else anyway. So I guess like it's just really using or utilising the hours, and that's, I guess, what the top end of sport I've found is all about, using those kind of in the car hours. Can you listen to something? Can you have a phone call with someone? Can you do something that will give you or utilise that hour that you thought was dead time or whatever? I know it sounds a very simple thing, but it's actually not, in my experience, hasn't been done too much. I guess people using those hours or maximising those hours.
Would you feel guilty now if you sat down and watched Netflix for 2 hours on an evening?
This time of the year, no. No.
Come say, I don't know, February, we're probably into the start of there.
Yeah, definitely in season, 100%. I'll be all in. I do, and that's the thing, like that balance thing. Maybe 2 or 3 years ago, this time of the year, in a similar situation, I would have felt guilty or sitting down for 2 or 3 hours. Now I kind of not force myself, but give myself a little bit more leniency or flexibility, or just because I know that when you're in it for 8 months or 7 or 9, whatever the months are. Depends on the season. So when you're in it, you're fully in it. So that kind of downtime, the winter, is very important to kind of restock and recalibrate and just reset, I guess, in general.
With the effort that you have to put in as a senior inter-county footballer, like, we can talk about it, the strength and condition of, like, what is it like from a player's perspective? Like, is the 5 nights a week, be it gym or training or whatever, is that sustainable as a player? Like, is that, like, how do you find managing that? Like,
it's definitely tough, and it's definitely getting
Is it still going even further and further?
I'd say so. Not so much the hour gym session or the hour pitch session in terms of what you cover, but it's probably more the smaller, maybe the analysis side of things, maybe the recovery, like the sleep is very big, the mindset stuff in terms of practicing that and quieting the mind and all this sort of stuff. So there's definitely loads more room to actually propel stuff on. The bigger pillars are more or less staying the same in terms of gym and that, but I think the smaller things are definitely getting a lot more respect or a lot more attention paid to it and investment into that.
Right, so we'll talk about probably what you're most known for. Not quite school liaison officer, although you're probably well known for that. Yeah, like obviously we've mentioned it already. You are a prominent member of the Dublin senior football team. But when did the love for the GAA start?
Down the road there a bit.
Down the road
in Fina, yeah.
So I have two brothers and a sister, and my parents are there as well. So it was very local to it too, but it was just where we were always going. We never really played a bit of schools, other sports, but it was always football and hurling, Gaelic football and hurling. But so Fina was that, but it definitely came from my family. It would have been a good tradition. My cousins are Ballybowden and my grandparents are Cabins, so it would have been a good tradition, I guess, in that sense from a GAA point of view. And then just growing up there, I'm still not great in terms of talent or anything, but I just get involved, just try my best. And
Look at the modesty.
No, like I had to work hard. I didn't get on it when I was Dublin, like when I was 18, 19, 20, like all these lads are doing now. I was 24, 23 or something, so I always found that bit harder to get to where I wanted to get to, and that could have been my fault too, but I just never really progressed naturally.
Because of course you did struggle initially to get into the senior side under Pat Gilroy, but did that motivate you even more to work hard and get into the side then?
Yeah, I think so. As much as I didn't like it at the time, as much as I felt I could have added value to his squad at the time, I guess looking back on it now, it's definitely a real driving force because it gives you a good sense of perspective. Like you're more or less in 2011, I was like the other odd tales of people that say just watching the guys win their trophy, so you do get a good, you're obviously happy for them, but you do get a good grounding and perspective, I guess, of what it's like not to be involved and more or less feet away from the people who are obviously very happy and stuff, so you get a good, I guess, grounding perspective. So looking back at the time, wasn't obviously happy, but now looking back, I don't think I'd change it because of the motivation it would have given me and the experience it would have given me to go where I am. And it
didn't hurt that Jim Gavin came in then in 2013, because you'd obviously already worked with him.
Yeah, I worked with him for 3 years on the 21, just after my minor thing. He came in that year, my first year I think it was, of 21. So he was involved as a coach previous, but as a manager it was my first year with him. So we more or less got to know each other on that. We won it in my final year of 21s. We were the semi-final to Cork the previous year. I'm not sure, Kildare and Newbridge was my first year, so we progressively got a little bit further. First round, first year, semi-final, second year, won it the third year kind of thing. So and then Jim came in a couple of years later. That was 2010. 2010 we won the All-Ireland, so it was that kind of interim period, 2010 to 13, although I was on at the back end 2012, but it was really only a number 33 jersey or something. So but yeah, 2013 was kind of then when I kind of got a real opportunity, and he gave me an opportunity, I guess.
Yeah. What have you learned most from Jim, do you think?
It's kind of that, like, I don't know how you would describe it in words, but I'll attempt, and it's kind of just that kind of hard work and respectful thing. It's such a simple thing, I guess, but that's what it is. You just get on with things. There's no real, not that there's no thanks, but it's certainly not him going out of his way to thank you for doing that or thank you, well done, good game. He expects you to do something. And
shouldn't have to praise you for.
Yeah, exactly. Like he'll obviously have to manage people and give people feedback and everything else. But so I don't mean he's very cold in that sense, but he just expects you to do your job in a good way. And we're lucky enough now to have a competitive squad that we're bouncing off each other. That the best person tends to get the position, tends to get the role at the end of the day. But he's just very. Look, he's very. As you see him on the interviews, so that's what he is. He's just very. I don't know.
Straightforward.
Just
says what he
no
means.
Real frills, and that's his background. That's his military. That's his own playing days. That's his military. That's his now aviation. So like it's precise. It's get on with your job. It's make sure it's right. It's double check. It's triple check. It's it's check and check and check and just keep going back to the training. So probably not too interesting for most people, but that's kind of what it is.
I suppose the obvious answer to this question is no, but I'll ask it anyways. Given the success you've had, I mean, 5 All-Ireland titles, of course, is it hard to stay motivated year after year going into a new season?
It's hard in the sense of there's so much going on in football and outside of football that the commitment levels, and it's a choice, but you have to make the commitment for 8 or 9 months, so you're in it for another 8 or 9 months. So I guess it's maybe it's not hard from that in terms of deciding, but it's kind of hard to know that there's loads of other stuff you could do.
Yeah.
But I guess you can't. The flip side to that is the tons of experience and opportunity that you get. So that probably does outweigh that kind of decision initially. Then once you're in it, from my point of view, you obviously made your decision, or you've asked and then you made the decision to do it. So so no after that, because it's such a competitive environment that you're like the learning. It's got sort of exponential learning. You're learning like at the coal face in every situation, whether that's like presenting in front of the group, whether that's performing for the group, whether it's just everything. Single scenario is a life skill as such that you can like directly transfer into your own personal and maybe professional life too. But from a sporting point of view, there's so much like razor edge to it that as somebody who's interested in high performance, that is like the ultimate happy environment you can be in.
And I suppose it doesn't hurt that you have probably one of the most competitive squads in sport, I'd say, in general.
Yeah, we're lucky, I guess. There's tons of work being done, or has been done, or still being done by the likes of your Desi Farrells and these guys over the years, with bringing up the Kierans and the Jacksons, John Smalls, and all these people that are now, I guess, or have been around for a couple of years. And then underneath that again, you're getting your Howards and your Merchants and your Cons and everyone else. So we're just, I guess, somewhat lucky that these players are all at this particular age group, but then we're also fortunate to have people doing a lot of groundwork and a lot of investment into these people to give them an opportunity and a platform and an environment to the last couple of years in their development, to give them a sense of reaching their potential, I guess.
And what would you say to younger players in the team who are trying to get into the first team?
We're trying to take your spot off, yeah.
It's what would I say is first and foremost, you just have to take them head on, because he's it's dog eat dog in that sense. So it's kind of unforgiving in a way that yes, they're new and yes, you look after them, but when you go over the white line, if he's going for a similar or you're going for a ball, it's one or the other type thing. So it's kind of
I suppose at the end of the day, you're both competing for that same position. So
yeah, pretty much, and it's a fine balance. Particularly the older guys or the people who are around a couple of years. It's cutthroat, but it's not cutthroat. Don't talk to the guy that's going for the same position. You definitely try to help him. And at the end of the day, if you can help him be a little bit better, and that makes him to be a little bit better, then at the end of the day, it's going to make others and yourself be a lot better. So it's kind of, we share and we collaborate a lot to get the best answer in the middle of the table, and then it's up to the 3, 4, 5, 6 lads going for that position to use and utilise that answer to the best of their capability. So there's definitely a lot of shared experiences, but once you go over the line or the ball's there to be won in whatever drill or something, it's kind of unforgiving in that sense, but it's kind of very supportive in another sense too.
Yeah, when it comes down to it, like in the dressing room, you need the camaraderie to be as successful as you have been.
Yeah, like it's a very close group, and you have a real mix of your Stevens who are older in their X years. You have a group of maybe me and some of the others in the middle, and then you have a group of kind of young, energetic guys who are carefree. So you have a real good balance of, I guess, that youth, but also competitive people in the middle who kind of have a bit of both, and then people at the other end who have it, but more so have the experience and have kind of the know-how in terms of pulling the reins of the ship as such. So you have a really good balance. Whatever way it's worked out, we just seem to have a decent balance.
I imagine the A's and B's games leading up to an All-Ireland final are probably nearly as intense as the final itself.
Yeah, the B's have the B's, the finishers have tend to beat the A's. There's been very close games. There's been a point one of the year. I think it may be a point this year, 2 points maybe. They've won it. So yeah, like they're obviously extremely disappointed. Potentially they're not going to be starting, so that's their motivation. At the same time, they have to play as a team in order to, and likewise the A team or the possible A team have a set of challenges too, that if they rest on their laurels for 60-70 minutes of that game, then very easily they could be rotated before the actual final selection is made. So it's a real it's a real mix of emotions and kind of adrenaline on those particular days. But yeah,
I just get a picture of like, so I read Jackie Turrell's book, and you know, he talks about like the A and B and like young lad coming in and trying to go up for a high ball, just cutting the legs from under him, saying you're not going to try that one again.
Yeah.
I just kind of get this kind of an image from this Dublin setup, you know, like the competition there just must be incredible. Like even to make it onto it, like
even to make it onto the bench.
Yeah,
like,
you know, like Cormac Costello talking during the year there about like, or since he finished up, like how he's kind of, I suppose, nearly content with his sub role, and he says I just kind of have to take that with this crop of players like this. I'm lucky to be involved in any capacity. I like that whole Dublin setup and stuff. Like I just imagine the A and B just must be incredible, because like from that whatever 30-35 players that are out there, probably 30 would start on just about any other inter-county team in the country.
At least, I'd say, yeah.
Yeah, look, it is competitive, there's no doubt about it, but you also have some very pissed off or annoyed guys that don't get those 4 or 5, whatever it is, 1 to 26 spots.
Sure, that might have been yourself back in 2011, and that would probably be a key motivator for players that maybe are on the fringe at the moment, but they've seen what you've done. You've gone from fringe to obviously starting centre or wherever in the back line on any given day.
Yeah, like my journey was a little bit longer. It probably took me a year or two to figure out how to get there, and then a year or two to kind of figure out how to actually get on it. Whereas some of these guys now are doing it in like 12 months less, doing it in 6 months less. So like you can definitely see the emotional or the intelligence of people in terms of how they go about their business and how they actually navigate their way through those obstacles. Probably a little bit quicker than maybe some of us have over in the past. So I guess we're lucky that we have quite a smart or intuitive individual set of players initially to actually, you know, take those types of decisions on the chin as such, but also very, very quickly bounce back and respond in a way which gives the management or coaching team a really hard decision to make the next day. So like there's people probably not got any game time this year that possibly could another county, I don't know, different places potentially, but they'll use that because they know they have to use it, or else there'll be somebody else going to use that to their advantage next year, or whenever the opportunity comes, and they do get an opportunity, and that's the key bit. It's not just out in the cold and wait a long time to get in. There's always opportunities, particularly earlier on in the year. There's always opportunities, and that is the real, I guess, where you build up your stock or your credit for a management team. From my experience with this management team, so again, getting on the horse early, or getting, you know, back in as quick and as early as you can, whether that's the underdogs or whether it's a Byrne Cup or whether that's league, depending on your situation. It's just putting your hand up the whole time and just keep asking questions, because nobody I wouldn't believe, other people probably maybe would think I'm wrong, but nobody from what I see would be safe in terms of position or playing or in any guarantee whatsoever.
Yeah, and I think like even from the nostalgic factor of it, like Bernard Brogan did incredibly well to come back and make it back from his cruciate injury last year, made it back for an All-Ireland final, and like he didn't actually make the 26, like, you know, so like that's just another testament to how competitive that whole Dublin,
and just how, well, maybe not ruthless is the word, I don't want to make Gavin sound harsh, but it is basically it is about your ability, your fitness, like who's ready, who are the best, you know, 26 to name on the day. I want to know a little bit more about this Dublin team, so I'm going to rattle off a few of these. So
just I haven't done it yet, and might as well. Colm is actually from Waterford, but for whatever reason he supports Dublin.
You actually, my dad is from Skerries. You actually met him at the open day briefly back in 2016, I think. We came here for the open day.
There you go.
But he started bringing me and actually, do you know what? I was wrong. He started bringing me to games in 2008. My first game was Louth in 2008. Yeah.
Louth Dublin, was it?
Louth Dublin, yeah. Back into, and my granddad was a Louth man as well, so there was a little bit of added tension there. But 2008 was actually when I started going.
What do you want?
You have hands everywhere.
But I want to know a little bit more about this Dublin team. So let's go with, who has the worst music taste?
Music taste?
Yeah.
It's probably Jack. Jack gets stick for everything.
What does he listen to?
I don't even know what he did. Like, he's into the Game of Thrones and the Pokemons and all them things. So he's kind of, not that like King's Leon's great, but he's kind of that kind of. They are great without him saying it. They're actually not bad, but it's just because Jack listens to it.
Who's the worst dressed?
I'll give you another answer. So, who is the worst dressed? Like, I don't know, Clucko maybe, I don't know, he still has the flavour.
Oh yeah, I was going to ask who's the quietest, but I'd say is it Stephen? That would be my guess now, looking from the outside.
I don't think Stephen, definitely not Stephen.
No?
Probably the opposite of what you think. Quietest, a lot of lads get on with it, to be honest. When they need to be loud, they'll be loud, but quietest, it's a tough one. Like, everyone has their say, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'm probably up there, to be honest. Not many of us say too much, to be honest.
No. Who'd be like kind of the joker in the dressing room then, the funniest?
Cosy Cormac, probably. Cormac's always that stuff, yeah.
Yeah, lads, do you have any of...
He probably knows he'd get away with it as well, because like Jim Gavin's not going to give him shit, like, because John Costello's keeping him out.
He's always up to stuff. He's always has something going on, which is he's a funny man.
Who'd be the hardest worker in the team?
There's a lot of guys that do a lot of stuff behind the scenes, unseen. Probably in totality, probably Steve Cluxton, both on and off the pitch. But probably equally, there's probably a couple more guys that are similar, but probably Stephen.
Is there any teacher's pet in the squad?
Lads always give out I am. There is that professional boundary thing. You can get close enough, but people can't see that. You get close enough, in inverted commas, but there's always that boundary. But yeah, the lads always give me stick for being it, because I know Jim for 7 or 9 years.
Well, I suppose probably like, you know, through your studies and stuff, like it really is up your avenue, and I suppose being involved, like bouncing off that whole management team and that whole backroom staff, I suppose really benefited you over the time as well.
Yeah,
probably.
definitely. I see it as, and look, Jim is very open. Like I can ask him something or hold him accountable, and as he would expect, as I would expect him to do to me. So, but yeah, I just find it a very open, collaborative environment, both with the manager and with the players. So some people may not have that same
open door kind
of, or maybe experience, or maybe different things that they'd feel comfortable. But I just do for my experience with him. So. But yeah, no, it definitely fits in with the challenging aspect of not only what he likes, but also what I would like as a player.
The last one, in the off season when you can, enjoy yourself a little bit. But who's the biggest lightweight? Who can't hold the beer?
Lightweight.
Yeah.
Cosy as well. Cosy gets a lot. Any younger lads, any lad here are always liable to do something.
Yeah. Right. Thanks for that. I just needed to
get some answers.
Yeah, get some answers. Yeah.
So Johnny, I actually passed you in the corridor in Croke Park on Leinster final day. He
was probably in tears in the corner.
I was having a bit of a strop. It was post game. I was having a bit of a strop. I had to go down and listen to John Sugrue, but no, you passed us. Like for me, that was like the Leinster final this year was a massive day. It was the first one for me to get to go to as a Laoisman for a good few years. Like it just must be so routine. Like, do you think now in 10 years' time you'll look back and you'll say, "Geez, like fair enough, we played Laois in a Leinster final last year." And look, I'm not saying Laois are terrible now. We're not fantastic, but like it's a Leinster. It's still at the end of the day for a lot of those Laois players. Like, it's a Leinster final. Like they might for a lot of them it was their first.
Some of them might be their last.
Could be their last. Like like it is only a Leinster final, but like they all do add up. You have what, 7?
Actually, I don't know.
Yeah, I think you have 6, 7.
Yeah. Well, I suppose that kind of speaks to like staying motivated. Like on an All Ireland scale, we touched on it, but on a Leinster scale, because like okay, you have been fairly dominant now for the past probably decade and a half, and obviously longer. Is it hard going into maybe Leinster to not get a bit complacent or anything like that?
Possibly subconsciously that could be come into the psyche. Definitely from an application, from an attitude, from an analysis, from a respect point of view, the opponents are treated, and people think it's a party line. It sounds like one where the opponents are treated the same in terms of the respect that we give. So the same level of analysis, the same time, same everything, same everything is given to the first to the last game. People may see it differently in terms of the level of opponents, in terms of the results, playing those games that surely they don't do it forward, or surely they're complacent or something. But the complacency thing is a big factor in our team in that 2014. There was probably, and again it was probably a subconscious thing, but that complacency thing when Donegal bet us was obviously a massive learning curve. So we thought at the time, to flesh that one out, we thought at the time we had done enough, and we did think we respected the opponent, but ultimately they more or less manipulated us in a way that we couldn't counteract in the moment. So they pulled us out of position and basically just exploited us. So I guess I definitely always refer back to those points of, have you done enough in the current situation? Have you done enough? Could you do more? And that's going from playing Louth to Laois to West. It doesn't matter who it is, because ultimately I would fear that it happened to me and us, that you get caught if you don't pay not even the right amount of attention. Just have you done, and just keep going and keep going. Even on the Thursday before Sunday, could you do a little bit more? 10-minute tape could see the left or the right side in terms of attendance. There's always something to do, and I guess that's what we're always chasing that performance. I guess that complete performance, whether it'll come, probably not.
I think ruthless is probably the word to describe your performance on the field. Anyways, like I think one of the big I think driving factors for your dominance in Leinster was that loss in 2010. I think that probably maybe not humbled, because I don't want to say that the team were getting too big or anything like that, but I'd say probably brought them down to earth. And obviously I followed it. They had that run all the way through the qualifiers up until the semi-final when they lost to Cork. But now you've really kicked on, and obviously it's sparked an era of dominance. Do you think that was maybe a factor?
I would always think, both from a personal and also from a team, that definitely the failures, or definitely those experiences stand to you a lot more, because, well, I only really speak from my point of view, but you can definitely vividly remember those moments, like the Donegal thing. In some respects, it still is with me every other day or every other week, definitely, in terms of maybe not necessarily thinking about those moments, but thinking about what if, or what could I do, or what could I have. And so, in other words, using those really poor moments in terms of that experience to spur you on, so you never have them again. And I guess that's a really good thing. You also have other drivers and motivators and performance and winning, etc. in the moment, but also the past definitely has to pay a stock, or pay some sort of dividend towards what's happening at the moment.
Yeah. Let's talk a bit about the club, obviously, Na Fianna. First, before we talk about football, do you play hurling with the club? Or you just
no, I do intend to. Every year I do intend to, but the way it's worked out from an injury, they got knocked out this year, just hasn't materialised. So I haven't played since I was. Was hurling
ever? Was it always a concentration on football over hurling, or were they ever kind of balanced?
No, it was a split all the way up to minor. Enjoyed both. It got a lot further in football. Cork beat us in an All-Ireland semi. That year, some really good players like the Rushes and a few other guys, Paul Shoedays and these people. There was loads of people on it, but so then I had a decision to make after, a selfish decision, I guess, in terms I didn't want to do both from a point of view. I wanted to excel at one. I was just honestly, I was straight up, I just said which will potentially win more. Football had a bit of a better stock of players from my point of view, what I seen, so I just went with football. So I haven't played since I was probably played a junior game or two when I was about 21, 22, but apart from that, I haven't played since I was 18.
Which would you prefer now?
Hurl.
Yeah. Most people say that, that are dual players.
Yeah, for hurl. I just find it. Even the stick work and stuff, and just the small intricate things of the hooking and the blocking, and just I don't know. I like the detail stuff. I think hurling has a bit of that in terms of touch and flick and moving and.
And there is a lot of players on that football team that would do great work for the hurling team, if time and commitment allowed. Obviously, it doesn't.
Yeah, they're all.
Do you think the day of a dual intercounty player is gone?
I'd imagine so. There's a lot of time that goes into one code, never mind two, especially with keeping your touch and hurling and stuff. Football, you definitely need to I guess to keep up the sharpness, but maybe it's not as applicable then it would. So I don't think. Personally, I don't know if anyone does it, and if they do, fair dues to them.
There are a few dotted around the country, but they wouldn't be counties, with all due respect, that would be playing at a high level in both codes, I'd say. But yeah, obviously Na Fianna were kind of the centre of news there earlier on in the year with the whole public transport underground thing. What did you make of all that? And obviously you played a big role in campaigning against it.
Yeah, well, look, I sit in our executive, so I knew what was coming down the track, and I just know from a club point of view there was a really big band of strong work being done, and then we kind of got that news out of the blue through a cold call, more or less, or through a media outlet or something, and So kind of disrupted and really hampered. We just went in as a new exec only a couple of months, so we are really making progress and strides to do different things financially and otherwise, and then this kind of hit us, and then we are sort of we really need to go to the well to get a lot of help from a lot of different avenues. So it was a big disruption, albeit also a really big positive in bringing us.
Yeah, it did really galvanise the community. I mean, myself and Greg were leaving campus actually just after we had interviewed Jason Sherlock that evening. We were leaving campus, and I remember it was outside the Helix, and we saw all the obviously the Nafina jerseys.
Oh, yeah.
And we mistook them for Roscommon jerseys initially because
you said Roscommon.
I mistook them for Roscommon jerseys because I wasn't thinking like obviously.
I thought it looked like the old Portland jersey.
But like obviously you're just down the road. But I wasn't thinking like, oh yeah, there's going to be a big crowd, and I was wondering why are all these Roscommon people here? But there was a massive demonstration from Nafina GAA just outside.
Yeah, it was. Look, we kind of had to dig into ourselves a little bit because you know, it was only subsequent to all that we started to pull out the numbers and the involvement and the sort of I guess what we all get from it. Now we started to, I guess, quantify that or see it visually in terms of numbers, in terms of the people coming out of the club in terms of giving us help in different ways, legal and financial and everything. And you know, obviously it's going to be a massive cost to take on someone like the National Transport Authority and a club that's a voluntary base as all GA. So so a big kind of, I guess, we're still not there yet. There's still a good bit of work to do to secure and hopefully get our pitches to be in use for the next couple of years. Where it'll happen, it's still open to discussion. And
obviously, if we're talking about club football, the club championships are on at the moment. The Dublin final is coming up this Monday. St Jude's against Kilmacud Crokes. Do you have a prediction for it there?
Not staying on fence on it will be very close. You kind of have a contrast, and the Crokes have such a history there, but in recent times don't really have much experience with this particular group, so it's hard to know whether, albeit they have a couple of Dublin and more experience, but it's hard to know where they'll fit into that, whereas Jude's are sort of similar, but they also have been knocking semi-final stages, possibly final a couple of years ago, so they've kind of been thereabouts, and they also have a really strong group of players, having played them earlier on in the league this year out there, you know, and then they have their dotted one or two county lads from different places, but it'll be straight down the middle if they can keep, in my opinion, if they can keep the likes of your Paul Mannions and one or two other Crokes players quiet. I think Jude's have a really strong chance. Yeah,
I think like Kevin McManaman's nearly like a great symbol of what Jude's is, like dig your heels in and put up the
actually
hard
heard something
fight.
really interesting last night about Jude's captain Chris Guckian.
Oh, Guckian, he was still here, yeah.
He was involved with the Dublin Balance for a couple of years. Never actually made championship squads. He was in for the league. He's actually considering switching allegiance, county allegiance, to Leitrim. His dad's from Leitrim. His dad's from Leitrim.
You wouldn't hear that too often.
Do you think that's a trend that we could see maybe in the next couple of years?
It's hard to know. Like,
I know we've had the dotted examples of like Ryan O'Dwyer coming to Dublin for the hurling. Who was it? Shawnee Johnston coming down from Cavan to Clare, and I suppose he went back. But
it's hard. It depends on people's I have family from Cavan, but don't have that close of a connection. But if people had like their dad or their mum or I don't know, somebody very close to them in that sense, then maybe it would be. I just don't see it as the right thing to do unless.
It definitely wouldn't be a norm. Like obviously, given the amateur status of the GAA, there's no money in moving to a different county, and it's just. It's not. I don't think it's this big rivalries in soccer. Like obviously, like you wouldn't see a player switching from Liverpool to Everton, but like really, you wouldn't see many players switching from any county to any county. It doesn't seem like a thing that would be accepted much.
Yeah, you can't deny people they know Guck was
play at a high level, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly. Guck was in now with us with Jim, and he's in now with Pat, and he's kind of very unlucky because I played him here. He's very unlucky with injuries and stuff, but he was always a really good, solid, centre wing back. He's actually playing a bit of centre wing forward with them now, but he's very good, very intelligent. So you wouldn't deny people an opportunity to test their skills in a I guess an elite county environment. So
obviously you're a busy man, and we are running out of time. So lads, do you have any final questions for Johnny?
We'll get to know him a little bit. We'll get to know Jonny Cooper. So quick Johnny, tea or coffee?
Tea.
How do you take your tea?
Actually, I don't really mind. I take any type of tea, anything.
Really?
That's a bit unusual.
I take little milk, loads of milk, very strong.
Must be happy with London. Then they have about 15,000 different kinds of tea downstairs.
Just normal tea. Some berries are fine, so I don't like the green tea.
Oh yeah, okay.
Favorite band, Johnny?
I I kind of like the Will Smith. He's not a band, but like that kind of rappy stuff. Yeah.
What's you mentioned that you've been listening to podcasts in the car and stuff. What's what you currently listening to?
A guy called Michael Gervais, Finding Mastery. He really excellent listen. Some really good people, Lancaster and a few others.
And now, of course, in conversation with.
That's what I'm listening to.
3 guests, alive, living or dead, to invite to a dinner party.
I always liked and still do Johnny Wilkinson. Growing up, I thought he was kind of the first real professional athlete that just went and did his own thing. So him, Barack Obama just has tons of charisma. And then, although I kind of know him a bit, but McGeaney I'd say, because he was kind of
you're like I was reading up on your Dublin GAA profile. Obviously, your childhood hero.
Yeah, and it's lucky just whatever way it turned out, he played for the Fianna, and I know.
Oh yeah, because he transferred up.
Yeah, he was there since. In fairness,
and his brother Enda. Yeah.
There was a few of them there, and there's a few other. There's loads of people anyway at the time, but yeah, McGeaney, I just found him. He was kind of a bit like the Wilkinson carve, but he was kind of in the GAA model. He was eating the pastas and doing the weights when everyone was just sitting at home, I guess. So he's very interesting.
Right.
I guess we'll wrap up with best piece of advice you've ever been given.
Oh, best piece of advice. It's probably come from home, I guess, in terms of the value system that we've got. But it's just it's probably boring up. It's just that persistence, or just that continuous going back to it. I've had, and many other players have, kind of setbacks and knocks, and if you can keep persisting, you know, I have found that the people who are eventually going to give you the opportunity will, I guess, take stock on that. So it's not a piece of advice as such, but it's that persistence of, you know, if you want something bad enough, there's definitely an opportunity that will present itself, but you have to be there to take it.
Fantastic. Yeah, look, like we said, you are a bit stuck for time, so we're going to call it in there. Thanks for a million for coming in, Johnny. Hope the rest of the day is not too busy for you now. Thanks for taking time out to come into us.
No problem.
This has been In Conversation with Jonny Cooper, with myself, Colin, and my co-host Gavin and Greg, and we'll see you next time. Thank you very much for listening.